hear me? Hold on to my voice. He's standing over you. He thinks he's won. And as sure as he's a coward, he will try to kick you.
Yes.
But because you know what he'll do, you're smiling inside.
Welcome back to another episode of Front Row Cinema, a movie podcast for movie lovers by movie lovers. I am your host, TJ Trimboli, and with me, as always, my co-host, we got Jennifer Lopez's acting coach in the house tonight, Mr. James O'Reilly.
How's it going, buddy?
It's going. We appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedule right now, coming and being with us here today.
I mean, yeah, this movie came out, what, like 2002? I haven't gotten much work since then, so got plenty of time.
Well, we're glad to have you. And each week we take a look at my 1,000 movies I've seen in theaters, and we see how well it's aged, along with the hype surrounding the film, its box office analysis, and legacy in the film industry. So if you enjoy this kind of content, hit that sub button on YouTube, leave that 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's how you help the channel grow. Now, we are at our number 30 episode. I can't believe how quickly the time flies. And as you all know, people that love and enjoy this special podcast here, every time we get to number 10, number 20, number 30, we take a break from a movie that I've seen in theaters and we go to a flick that I've missed for a movie that Jim saw in theaters. So, Jim, you picked the movie last week. So, remind the people at home today, what are we watching?
We're watching Enough, starring Jennifer Lopez.
I feel like us, especially, I'm going to get a lot of heavy punnage and jokes out of using that title many times throughout the movie when I say that I have had enough.
Oh man,
Oh,
I really think that was the only joke. Are you gonna say that a bunch of times?
I'm gonna beat that into a dead horse throughout this episode, Jim.
I thought you were going a different direction there for a second.
Oh,
Continue.
no, no, we're not gonna make those ones. But that's right. We're watching 2002's thriller Enough, directed by Michael Apted, written by Nicholas Kazan, and starring Jennifer Lopez. Jim, we're going to bust out the DVD cover once again, making its return. It's been a few weeks, but finally making its return is the DVD. And we could turn to the back for the jacket here. And my God, Jim, for a movie that I don't think needed 2 paragraphs to explain its plot, we're getting 2 paragraphs worth to describe the plot of the movie Enough.
I can't wait.
Yes. And it reads, working class waitress Slim thought she was entering a life of domestic bliss when she married Mitch, the man of her dreams. After the arrival of their first child, her picture perfect life is shattered when she discovers Mitch's hidden possessive dark side, a controlling and abusive alter ego that can turn trust, love, and tranquility into terror. Terrified for her child's safety, Slim flees with her daughter. Relentless in his pursuit and enlisting the aid of lethal henchmen, Mitch continually stalks the prey that was once his family. Finally, Slim is forced to fight back, engaging Mitch in a physical and psychological battle, showing him that she's had enough.
Oh boy, it took a while, but they got there at the end.
I have a few thoughts, preguntas, questions about this log line.
Okay.
He was just a piece of shit. Was he really? Did we really need to say an alter ego?
Yeah, probably not.
That implies
Probably
that
not.
like he doesn't have much control over being a piece of shit.
Well, no, I think what it's implying is that like the guy that she fell in love with was an act. That was his alter ego. Like he was like lying to her the whole time.
I guess. I just like when you read it, it makes me immediately think that like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like he suddenly
Yeah.
is like, I can't control it. I'm feeling abusive. Run.
Yeah. No, see, that's not how I took it. I do think it gives him a little bit of a pass. Like it's like, it's like his alter ego to beat up his wife. It's like,
That's what I'm saying. Like
that's not
it's
really
almost
like
giving him an olive branch for being a
like
piece of-
Spider-Man is an alter ego. Like not
Exactly.
like you
Exactly.
know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, so a little interesting there, but I did like the build up to using the title in the log line. Very
yeah,
good
yeah.
showing there. That was top notch. for it. So Jim, take me through it. How does it's 2002? We're what, 13 years old? How does 13-year-old Jim find himself at the movies seeing Jennifer Lopez's Enough?
I am almost 100% sure this is a movie I saw with my dad and my sister in theaters. I am like almost 100% sure that was the crowd.
What a family movie at the cinema.
Yeah, I mean, my dad took us to all kinds of movies. I watched all kinds of movies with him when I was younger, and not all of them were like movies I probably should have been watching when I was younger.
But I mean, hey, kudos to your dad. You're getting out there, you're seeing movies way out of your comfort zone.
Well, yeah,
Because
and plus, I mean, this one's probably not bad for a 13-year-old boy to see. You know what I mean?
yeah, definitely not. I mean, it's probably a good learning movie for all young men to see. We're like, all right,
Yeah,
don't
like,
be a piece of shit and
yeah,
beat up
that
your wife.
guy's, don't be like that guy. That guy's horrible.
It's a good moral movie to go see at a formative age. Now obviously I did not go and see this movie. I didn't see this movie. I think we briefly touched on it last week. But I didn't see this movie until around COVID, when we were locked indoors and me and Heather were going back and forth, each showing each other. Like each day we would get to pick a movie.
Yeah.
And one of her picks was enough was to get me to see this movie. It had slipped through the cracks for many, many, many. I had never even heard of this movie until
Wow, that's
she was
crazy to me.
yeah, until she was making her picks and she's like, "Have you ever seen Enough?" And I was like, "What the hell even is that?" And then
Because
she was like, "Yeah, go on."
this was like kind of a big deal. Like Jennifer Lopez was like a thing at this point in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
no,
her
she's a huge
starring in a
star.
movie was
To get your own like starring vehicle here, like because this movie is basically a showing just for Jennifer Lopez to be like, I'm gonna be in this campy movie where I'm gonna like kick a lot of ass by the end of it.
yeah, I mean, this is like a movie where you're just like, well, if we put Jennifer Lopez in it, maybe it'll do good. You know what I mean? Like, so like she's a pretty big star at this point. So I'm surprised that it slipped through for so long, or that you'd never even heard of it. It seems crazy that you've never heard of it.
It's true. Yeah, it is shocking that that is one that fell through the cracks because I do usually am up to date, especially on like big stars like this. I usually know the majority of their movies, even if I haven't seen each individual movie. So yeah, so
Yeah.
it was shocking that this one slipped through the cracks. Uh,
Although, is this before or after Gigli?
this is before. I think that was
Yeah, because
2003 that came out.
Gigli's 2003. That's when that came out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I turned off from Jennifer Lopez at a young age because I saw The Cell when it came out.
Oh yeah,
And I think I was way too young to like appreciate or even understand what the hell I was watching in that movie. And I was kind of like, I think that's enough Jennifer Lopez for me.
yeah, same. What Cell was like the late 90s, right?
Yeah, either late 90s
Or
or
like
or like
2000,
2001. Yeah,
2001.
somewhere like right around because I know it was
Yeah.
before this movie.
Cell was
Um,
kind of the same thing for me. Like I couldn't tell you what it was about, but I remember thinking like this is really like creepy. I don't want to watch this.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like it was a movie that very, very turned me off, and I was like, I don't want to watch movies like this for a while again.
Yeah, it genuinely freaked me out. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly, exactly. So I think I might have just been scarred from Jennifer Lopez at that point because after seeing The Cell, I was like, I don't think I want to see any things with her for a little bit.
Yeah, no, I remember being pumped for this movie. I really wanted to see this.
Interesting, interesting. Yeah, so this one fell through the cracks, but luckily we've rectified it. I've now seen it twice, COVID, and now this time here for the podcast. So it's been very interesting to watch this movie. But I think a lot of people were in the same boat as me, Jim, in that they didn't even know about this movie because this had a very interesting box office run. So let's get in there. Let's cue
That's
it
a
up.
fair
Let's
point.
dive into some box office numbers.
Numbers, dates, and numbers, dates, array, dates, numbers. Show me the money.
All right. So enough opens Memorial Day weekend of 2002. It's
Day
the
weekend.
weekend of the 24th through the 26th. And then I guess the 27th is Memorial Day, right? So against a $38 million budget, Enough's going to pull in its opening weekend, coming all the way down in 5th place
Ooh, not very good.
with 14 million.
Oh boy, 14 million. Well, not the worst showing that we've seen in some of these movies here in 2002, Jim. 14 million, good enough to put it in the number 25 spot, just behind A Knight's Tale's 16.5 and just ahead of Jimmy Neutron's 13.8.
Yeah, budget wise though, much bigger failure than Jimmy
Yeah,
Neutron.
but yeah, go at 14 against a 38 million budget, not spectacular.
Yeah. And yeah, it's all the way down in fifth place behind Star Wars and Spider-Man. It's Star Wars Attack of the Clones and Spider-Man. This is the week Insomnia came out. I think we talked about that in a previous episode. It is
Yeah,
not the John Cusack
not the
movie where
John
they're all in a
Cusack.
motel. And then Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, which I think stars Matt Damon.
Yes, it does.
Those all beat out Enough in week one. And like I said,
Yeah.
Enough's got 14 million. No other real like noteworthy opening weekends that weekend. So I think we're just gonna move on. And like a lot of this is gonna be stuff we covered already. Like this week, it is all the way down in seventh. The Sum of All Fears and Undercover Brother come out this weekend. It's still behind Attack of the Clones and Spider-Man, which I think you can count on for basically ever, right? And so second week, Enough pulls in 6.8 million with a 51.4% drop. So like starting low and then having a much worse drop than some of these movies that we've seen pull in like over $100 million. Like Spider-Man first week, I don't even think dropped 40%. And that was on 114 million. And Enough on 14 million is already dropping over 50.
Not great.
Yeah, not great at all. And I mean, like, it's kind of like it just makes me wonder, like, what they're thinking releasing this Memorial Day weekend because it's just such a
Yeah, this does not say Memorial Day. Like it's always interesting to me when you see how they decide release dates for certain movies because this is absolute like Memorial Day. You're thinking like, all right, you want to put something exciting because you want your families to go to the theater. You know, you like it's Memorial Day weekend, all the families are together doing barbecues and shit. Like we're gonna go to the movies. You want to get the family together. Like not the like who's gonna go see Enough with the family on Memorial Day weekend? Like, yo, what should we go see? Let's go see this movie about domestic abuse. Like,
yeah, and like and not just Memorial Day weekend, but those first couple weeks of summer too. You know, like
yeah,
you're going
like
up against more traditional like summer blockbusters like Attack of the Clones
clothes.
and Spider-Man.
This
The
is a
Sum of All
movie.
Fears is like a big action Tom
Yeah,
Clancy movie with a big movie star in it.
yeah. This is a movie that I think would probably have done better sometime in the fall in like one of the lighter like areas where not a lot of movies are coming out, or in the early spring, like late March, early April, where a lot of like not big movies are coming out. So at least like
Yeah,
there's a
this
window there for opportunity because there's like, oh, nothing else is coming out. What do we got? Oh, here's this like psychological thriller. Like, let's go check
right.
that.
This feels like a September movie to me. Like that's
Yeah,
what this feels like.
exactly.
That's I
And
feel like the
honestly,
psychological thriller like our bread and butter back then
yeah.
is like
And
September.
getting the lead in to like getting into the Halloween season too, where like you could get maybe a little bit more of a bump out of this because people are looking to be in something that's more intense.
Yeah, maybe. Either way though,
Yeah.
it's just crazy to put
Just
it where they
weird to
put
put it. Well,
it. Because
they
again, like
dude, they still do that today. Like we just
I
had the
don't think so.
lowest no, dude, we just had the lowest box office Memorial Day weekend in like 30 years because the
Uh
big movie they released for Memorial Day weekend was Furiosa, which is this R-rated, like apocalyptic, venge-filled, violent
right.
spectacle. Like that's not a movie to release for Memorial Day weekend. Like
I mean, it's definitely a big action movie, which I think is really my only requirement. but
I don't know. You're
obviously, it
watching it, dude.
didn't do
Like
great.
it's a fantastic movie, but when you're watching it, the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, dude, this is not the movie to release for Memorial Day weekend. Like this is gonna curb stomp right into the crowd.
Yeah. All I'll say though, if you released enough in 2024, it's definitely a direct to streaming movie.
Oh,
There's like
absolutely.
no
Yeah,
chance that there's
yeah,
any
no.
other existence for it than
This
it gets released on a streaming service.
yeah, this doesn't touch the theatrical window these days, which is a shame.
Honestly, I kind of hope somebody remakes it for a streaming service. I'll watch it. Like
Oh
I'm
my
just saying.
God. Do they call it enough already?
No, it's just got to be enough. Or maybe it's like, no, okay, you know what? We're not going to make silly sequels to enough. This is a serious movie about a serious topic. We're not going to talk about how like it could be like a zombie movie. Like the guy just like never gives up. Like that's
Oh my god.
we're not going to bring that up though. That's not what we're going to talk about. So anyway, we've kind of strayed pretty
Move
far
straight from the
here.
path. Get back.
The
Run
third
this
week
thing
of
out of the
enough.
top 10.
The third week of enough. It's in ninth place with 3.8 million. Couple notables coming out this week: Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood.
Dude, now there's a movie right there.
That's a movie I've heard of. I don't know if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, no, I've never seen it either, but I
It's
remember
kind of
hearing.
like a movie I would roll my eyes at when I saw it on TV back in the day. So I don't know. It's probably good though. I just wasn't giving it a chance back then. And then Bad Company, do you know, with Walt Disney Studios?
Is it the one with Anthony Hopkins and Chris Rock?
Maybe. Let me click on it. Yeah. When Ivy League educated CIA agent is killed during an operation, the secret agency recruits his twin brother, Chris Rock.
Dude, the 2000s, man. You can always rely on them for a twin brother scenario.
Yeah. Twin brother. Yeah, so those are the only notables that week. And like again, we talked about a lot of these weeks because we did like the big movies for this run already. This is really like a deep cut for this time of year. Week 4, it's finally out of the top 10. It comes in 13th place with 1.7 million.
All right, so only 3 weeks in the top 10. Man, that sounds about right.
Yeah, but so then this is like interesting though with these totals, right? Because
Okay.
this is the kind of movie that when there was a home video market where like, enough people saw or heard about enough that they
I
had
see what you did there.
I didn't even mean to.
Line
But
drive right down the center.
enough people are willing to spend like $20 on a DVD of this so they have it that like you're gonna eventually make your money back and then some, right? But so totals for now, it finishes with 40 million domestic,
Jesus.
11.8 million international for a worldwide total of 51.8 million. So like it just beats out its budget. It's probably not in the black just yet, but like this is a movie that could easily double that number in home video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like get another 50 million and then all of a sudden you're feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, these movies, especially in the early 2000s, like really got another life thanks to home video release. And it's a shame that there really isn't that market anymore for it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's 100% why they don't make this kind of budget movie today anymore because
yeah,
there's no safety net. You just need
there's
it to
no,
do well in
yeah,
theaters and
yeah,
only a very specific type of
specific
movie
movie.
does well in theaters.
That's why
So,
you only see these types of movies like on streaming anymore because it's just there
yeah,
to add
exactly.
content to the roster. But yeah, so 51.8 million coming in towards the bottom of the barrel. We got a lot of 2002 movies just hanging out here at the bottom of the barrel right now. So enough is going to come in at the number 26 spot, just behind Jimmy Neutron's 103 million and just ahead of Black Knight's 39.9 million. So
Interesting. So it's kind of bridging the big gap there because 100 million down to 39 million is a pretty big.
yeah, so we've filled in that little roster right there with a 50 millionaire. And I'm sure we'll find plenty more shitty thrillers and comedy movies to pad out the bottom of the heap down there.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see when like budget 38 million stops showing up. You know what I mean? Like when
Yeah.
when cuz I feel like that's going to happen eventually where you just don't see a number that low ever again, you know?
Oh yeah. At this point, like the 100 million's like the threat because it's either like now like the budget the cap for the bottom is 100 million or it's an indie movie where the budget was like $2 million. So like
Right. It's like a
you
real micro
lose.
budget.
Yeah, you lose that like healthy like $50 million budget down the line. It just absolutely disappears. But
But
that's
yeah,
so
so pretty low
yeah,
on the list though, which is
yeah,
expected, I think.
yeah, which is what we expect. I mean, it all lines up, going off of these box office totals, you know, critically, this also got, pretty lambasted. It sits with a 21% on Rotten Tomatoes, about right in the middle of the line, 5.8 on IMDb. But interestingly enough, the cinema score, which is the metric that they use to actually talk with, where they poll audiences who see these movies opening weekend, cinema score was an A minus. So
Oh,
that's interesting. So as we now dive into our thoughts here on the
that
movie,
is interesting. Because doesn't the
right?
cinema score include like the box office number in some way, or no? It's just like totally like word of mouth.
Yeah, I think cinema scores is totally word of mouth. It's just like they go out and they poll people who are coming out of the open weekend, and they
Interesting.
just get like a median average of like what people grade it.
Okay.
Yeah, so at least the people that went and saw the $14 million that we got opening weekend, all those
Yeah.
people, it were enough to give this bad boy an A minus cinema score. So we'll see where our thoughts align with any of these totals from these three respected sites. I put respected. They can't see it, but I put respected in heavy quotations there. Looking at you, Rotten Tomatoes, you sack of
Yeah.
shit.
What did you say? Rotten Tomatoes gave it 20%.
21% from Rotten
Damn.
Tomatoes.
And that was the critic score. What was the audience score?
I did not look out to see what the audio. I don't think because a lot of the
Did they
times with
not
the
do that
older
back then?
movies, I think yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of the times with the older movies, you don't see like they only have what the critics had like amassed, and they don't have the audience
Yeah,
score.
there was a point where there was no such thing as an audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm
Yeah,
old enough to remember that. Yeah.
I'm old. Yeah, I mean we're old enough to remember a time when people didn't use Rotten Tomatoes to judge if a movie was good or not.
Back in my day, Rotten
That
Tomatoes was an advancement.
all right, Grandpa, relax over. But all right, Jim, let's dive into this bad boy. Let's see where our thoughts align with these critical receptions here.
Yeah, what'd you think of it for your second time since COVID watching
Oh
enough?
man, you want to start with me?
I
Oh boy,
do, I do.
oh boy, oh golly, gee, oh my. So I'm a very mixed reception here when it came to this movie because there's plenty of things in it that I like, and then there was plenty of things in it that really hampered this movie for it. But I think the biggest pro that I can give it is just having the balls to make a movie like this. I feel like you would not see them even taking a chance on making a movie like this today. Um,
Yeah,
or
it's like
if they are going to make it today, it's going to be much more on the line of straddling how they want to perceive it. Because this is just basically they're just like, let's just make a campy B movie about domestic abuse. And they were like,
yeah, I
yeah,
guess what is it that you think specifically would stop it from getting made? It's just that you think it's like too much of a melodrama about it?
yeah, because I,
Like
I
almost
think
like it doesn't take it seriously enough?
exactly like it's very 2000s in the fact that it's very over the top. In the sense that not that I don't think that there are people out there that are like this, but the dude is like such a cartoon villain at times. And it's not to say that like I don't think that there aren't guys out there who are very much like that to their wives, but just some of the shit he says and does in this at times, I'm like, dude, like I don't know, like really, I can get both angles where like I believe that there are people out there like that, but I don't just like the way they structured it in the movie. Like when he would do things, I would just like it didn't give me the terror sense where I was like, dude, this guy is bone chilling. It more made me be like, dude, this is like hilariously silly. Like they made this guy like so over the top with it at times.
Yeah.
Where and I don't know if that's like in the guy's performance of it where like if he had taken more of an understated like menacing approach to that like it would come off better, but like it came off very much like B movie campy ridiculous more
See,
than
you keep using the word
intense.
campy, and I would never in a million years call this movie campy. Like it's not
Dude.
like the parts like I agree, it does what movies do back then, which is it takes I mean, and even kind of what movies do all the time. It takes the situation and ramps it up to 15. You know what I mean? It
That's what I'm
takes it
saying.
to
Yeah,
its
like
craziest conclusions throughout the movie. And I don't know, I wouldn't call that campy though. Maybe it's unrealistic, but the parts when this movie does that, I've never find them funny. I'm like so uncomfortable watching it because and
interesting.
I'm so afraid that like when he's trying to break into I think they're in like a hotel room and he's trying to break in like
Yeah.
I'm so afraid of him actually getting in. You know what I mean? Like I never once thought it was campy. I was always like, oh my god, this is gonna be so horrible. How far are they pushing this? You know?
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's just the tone of like how, they made, these movies back in the 2000s where like it all just had like that tinge of just, like you said, taking it to like a 15. So like some points feel more ridiculous because it's taken to such an extreme. Like I think about the scene when they're with, I can't remember the dude's name, like her friend that was like, I don't know if he was, I can't remember if he was an ex-boyfriend or was just like the
Yeah,
dude that was always there
it
for
was like
her.
a kind of like fling on again, off
Yeah.
again thing in college, I
Yeah.
think was the
And
idea.
like, and they're staying with him, and then immediately like the fake cops show up and he lets them in.
Yeah.
And the one dude is so comically silly, like, or he just like holds like the knife to like his throat, and then like as he goes up and he's like, "See you later, Joe," and he like turns around and like gives him like a wink or like blows him like a kiss or whatever. Is like walking. I'm like, dude, this guy, it's so comically like over the top at times. And
Those
like,
guys were a bit much, yeah.
yeah. And it makes me think to like a movie. I don't know if you've seen this movie, 2020's The Invisible Man, with Elizabeth Moss that Leia Whannell
No,
did.
I know what movie you're talking about, but I haven't seen
So
that
so
one.
this movie reminded me a lot of that movie too, because they also have like the same type of scene where she's trying to escape from his house because she's kind of like in this guy's grasp in the same sense that like he's this
Yeah.
abusive dude that she's kind of stuck under. And that movie uses him gaslighting her and keeping her under this leash and being menacing in exactly the way that I feel like you're describing to me, where it's like you just feel that tension the entire time. I feel like that movie does it very well because he does this kind of like much more understated performance of it that makes you get sucked more into that tension. Whereas for me in this one, all of the villains, while technically doing villainous things, just feels so much more over the top in it. And I think for me, it straddles it over that line just a little too much in its over the topness that it takes away from me getting sucked into those tensions. Because the scene where she's trying to escape with her daughter is the only time in this entire movie where I felt that like, oh bitch, you gotta get out of there. Like, come on, move, girl. Like, move. Like, forget it. Why are you doing that? Like, get out of the house. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just disagree. Like when I the set like the second this guy turns even remotely bad, I'm picturing that it's gonna go the worst it can possibly go. You know what I mean?
mhm,
So I like even like the moments when they're just fighting, or when she's just like picking up the kid and like quietly trying to get out. I'm like, I know they're gonna go to a place much worse than where they are right now, in this movie at some point.
yeah.
Just from when he first goes bad, I know that. So like that tension for me is building a lot throughout that part. But I think I know what it is. I think like the first like act of this movie, like the first half hour of this movie is very slow, right? Like
Mm,
it's a lot of like he seems like so perfect, and like that part's very over the top. Like it's like, and then they give like
yeah.
little hints that he's a little bit pushy, but maybe it's kind of okay because he's doing it because he loves me and I really want the
Yeah.
house, like
Yeah, dude, when he comes up,
um
he's like, "Listen, he's like, you're gonna sell me this house." He's like, "Cause you don't want me like annoying the shit out of you like every day." Like,
yeah. Yeah, he takes it to a pretty bad place. So then we're also like, even from that point, I'm kind of like, when is this going to go bad? You know what I mean? Like, because this is going to go real bad, right?
yeah.
And I already know that as somebody who just saw like the trailer for this movie. You know what I mean? I mean, it's called Enough, for Christ's sake. She's in there with like boxing gloves on the cover.
Mhm.
So, so like, I think that that part's a little over the top when he's fallen in love with her and she's fallen in love with him and they're doing the wedding and everything's like so great in storybook. Like the meet cute in the beginning is like, oh my god, of course it's the guy who's like defending her and then is like, don't worry about it, and like flips his coat over his shoulder and is leaving.
Actually, that was one of the things that I liked that bit where it was like they run that scam where like one of them's a dick and the other one comes to the aid as like the knight in shining armor, and like that's the way like they get laid. Like that's a good like approximation of showing character traits of like of making that guy a piece of shit without
Oh
being like,
yeah.
over the top.
And that's a cool reveal later in the movie. Yeah, that the whole thing was a setup. But I
And not
just
only
mean
a
in the
setup, but that
beginning,
like his buddy is also a cop. Like, so it's like it's extra gravy on top of you. So like, oh, cool, this cop's also a piece of shit. Like, great.
yeah, it's a great way to bring him back into it and raise the stakes like toward the middle. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. But just in the beginning, it's like they're laying it on really thick, and I feel like it's so over the top in one direction, like when it's all lovey-dovey, and then like the contrast of that to where they go and like how quickly that has to happen, you know what I mean? I think it can feel like a little like undeserved, maybe is the word for it.
Okay.
Like you're kind of it like kind of socks you, so like maybe your first reaction, and it's like the opposite of what we were just seeing that was over the top. So maybe like that the way they set up the tone in the beginning is what's doing it for you. That's like what I can think
Possible.
of.
It's possible. I also think like the structure of this movie is kind of all over the place too. Because I think the thing more so than him being comically over the top, the thing I hate the most about this movie is the fucking title card,
The Quentin
subtitles for every
Tarantino-esque
yeah,
like title
yeah,
cards that come up
yeah.
every three
It's just
minutes.
like, yeah, it's like the meeting, and then it's just like the wedding, like the end of the beginning. It's like, dude, just stop fucking doing that. Like, I get it. Like, it's passing a time. I can follow what's happening. Like, stop fucking doing that.
Yeah, it's like I think a movie maybe gets like three or four of those, and this movie was like, I'm gonna use all of them in the
Yeah.
first 8 minutes.
Yep. They were like, I'm gonna do it
Because
every
then they just
fucking
like
5 seconds.
abruptly stop, right? And then they're just
Yeah.
not in the movie anymore.
Once once she decides to flee and I think the title card comes up called Get Out, like I fucking die. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then you just
Yeah, and
did another one
do
after
they
that.
ever have a title card enough?
No.
Because like that's where those
Because
have to
like
be leading to,
like
right?
that's a
Like you
slam
need
dunk
to
to do that one.
yeah.
Yeah. And then they never do that one. But like it's weird in the sense that because like from watching this trailer, and I guess like it's both a pro and a con because it's a pro in the sense that like it doesn't go in the direction like you expect when you sit there looking at a movie like this and you're like, all right, I can telegraph like A, B, C, D, like what's gonna happen throughout this, and then it
Yeah.
doesn't do it. But it's weird to me that it's like what normally you would get in like the beginning of act two, which is your training montage, where like you would think she would start doing this training after she's escaped to start learning how to defend herself and come back, doesn't happen until like the last like third of this movie. And
No,
then just
I kind of like that though.
no, and I'm not saying it's in like a bad sense because like
Okay.
I agree with you in like the pro that like it doesn't do the exact formulaic approach that you would expect from this, but it's
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
interesting.
totally.
Yeah, it's interesting that it chose to do that in like that it's almost in the tail end of this half where it's like because for her it's not so much the sense that like I'm trying to me like as soon as I leave trying to get the skills to beat the shit out of this guy. The skills is just I need to get away from this guy for the sake of my daughter. And then only once she feels like she's been backed into a corner is it the sense that now it's like, no, I need to learn how to defend myself to take this guy, not only to take this guy out, but just to not only protect myself, but also protect my daughter. And you're not going to get to that as soon as she escapes from her husband. You're going to get that after she's been discovered in Minnesota, where she realizes nowhere can I run? Am I going to be able to get away from this guy?
Yeah, well, to me, like the movie is about her deciding to not be a victim anymore, you know? And even when she's on the run
Where
and
she,
in
dare I
hiding,
say, has had enough.
yeah, exactly. That's why it's called enough. Yes, exactly. But like even when she's on the run and in hiding, she's still being victimized by this guy. You know what I mean? She's being taken to court. She's always looking over her shoulder. She's justifiably freaked out and her life is in danger. And she's not really doing much about it. She's running away from it, you know? Um and like I just love that the turn into really like the third act of this movie and like the climax of her arc is she just decides to not be a victim anymore, and it's so good. It's so great. So yeah,
You,
I'm with you. I love that where that happens in the movie, and I love that it basically just sets up for, what I'm dying to happen for the most of this movie is for her to go and like fuck this guy up, you know?
it's like for her to finally get like revenge on that guy and not let him have this agency over her anymore. So like I do really enjoy that. So it definitely it's not a bad movie, but
Although that one scene with the lawyer is so ridiculous.
oh yeah, it's
that that scene may be the most ridiculous. And like it's even hard to call it ridiculous because a lot of what he's saying is true. You know what I mean? Like it's like guys do shit like that, like where they've just like decided that they're gonna kill somebody. You know?
Yeah.
Uh, but just the way the lawyer lays it out, and like he's like in an official capacity, being like, "Well, it's too late." Like,
Yep.
he's like, "You're gonna go to court and you're gonna lose, and then he's gonna murder you." Like, it's just
He's
like,
like, I
oh
wish
my
you came to
god.
me earlier because you already made it hard on yourself.
Yeah, it's just like,
It's like,
holy
Jesus, guys.
crap, man, that's intense. But then of course it turns out to be like the great impetus for her to like, you know, she's like, all right, I'm like you said, I'm trapped in a corner. I got to do something about this. Like
Like,
way more hardcore than I was ever thinking I needed to.
but and like that's another thing is like some of the dialogue in this movie is like, and I think that's another thing where I get like where I say like this movie feels campy because there's just a lot of the times with the dialogue is either very on the nose or it's so ridiculously silly. You know, like you played the intro where the guy is training her and he says the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, where he's like, you know, this man is a coward, and because he's a coward, he wait till you're down and then he gonna kick you. And it's like, what the fuck are you even talking about, man? Like what?
No, that made sense to me because like that's what a coward would do. When they have you
But
beaten, they'll like
just
get a few extra licks in, you know?
Well, like you would think he'd come up with like more like violently descriptive adjectives than him just being like, and then he'll kick you. It's like, oh, that doesn't
I
sound so bad.
guess.
Like,
I guess. I liked how that said, but no, it is a melodrama. Is the thing. Like
that's
it's a
yeah.
melodrama. It's
Like
like almost like soap opera
that's
quality.
like it's a movie that with enough tweaks, this could easily be at home as like a Hallmark movie. Like,
Yeah, like her dad is such a ridiculous character. He's like a
the
crime
Fred
boss?
Ward.
Question mark. Like
Yeah, he's a
I don't really
businessman
know what
with
he does.
very interesting ulterior motives, maybe like in the outside
Yeah.
world of his businesses.
But as a movie character, he's consistent, you know, and he's interesting. Like I think it's funny the way he doesn't really give her the time of day until people come and threaten to kill him over it, and then he's like, I don't want anybody threatening to kill me. I'm gonna do the opposite of what they said. Like,
It's so yeah, that is like one of the funniest parts where he like sends her the letter and he's like, you know, I just thought you were another like trying to get money out of me, but then people showed up and told me they'd kill you if I gave you money, so I'm giving you money. It's like what?
yeah, it's just he just wants to stay. Like
Yeah,
nobody tells Jupiter what to do.
yeah, he gives her like $2,000. He's like, you need more, just send it in an envelope.
Yeah, but no, it's just like he's like a wild character, but he kind is kind of perfect and like makes the plot go at a lot of different points. You know, like
Yeah,
that's like a
it's
cool advantage for her to pull from to get back at the guy.
and it's funny. Fred Ward's a good that guy to turn up in a movie. Like
Yeah, totally.
we obviously know who his name is, but I feel like for the normal moviegoer, they would see that and be like, "Oh, I guess the guy from Tremors." The cop friend too is also a that guy. I the whole time I'm watching this movie and I'm like, I know this fucking dude from something, and I'm like, what is
Isn't
this
he
guy
from one of
from?
those like teen shows in the '90s?
I don't know
Is
about a
that
teen.
totally made up?
It's possible, but I don't know about a teen show. I knew him from that sci-fi show that was on TNT for a while, Falling
Oh, Fallen
Skies.
Sky. Yeah, right. He
Yeah,
was in that.
yeah, he was in that. So a few that guys sprinkled throughout this movie. What? How did J Lo work for you in this movie?
I mean, she played the role like she seemed like she was good in the movie, you know? Like I mean, we'll talk more I think a little bit about her and IMDb deep dive too.
Oh, there we go. Finally getting an actress in
I
IMDb.
mean, yeah, she's like the star of this movie and it's
Yeah, I mean,
like
there's really
it's
no one else you can go with because the Mitch, her husband, I've never heard of before or since.
yeah, he might have been in some stuff too, but
It is
I
possible, but
wasn't
if he
like
wasn't anything, I have no idea. Like even on the back cover of the DVD for Mitch, they just give from TVs once and again, like whatever the fuck that is.
yeah. I kind of
Never
want to look up what else he was in now because I
never
know
even heard it. I think
I
the
feel like
biggest
I've seen
thing is the director did a James Bond movie. So it's interesting then that he would follow that up with enough.
I mean, dude, I think some of the intense scenes were like really well shot too. I thought this movie was really good. I don't know.
No, it was shot. I think the finale when when they finally have the throwdown back in the house is structured very well, and I really
Oh
enjoy
yeah, the
like that.
finale is great,
Yeah,
dude.
like that brings it all in for
The
me.
way she sets him up is like so perfect. It's
Yeah,
simple enough
yeah,
where I understand it, but it's
yeah.
like it's
Like and
like
it's
not
just
too.
and it's just simple enough and structured correctly in a sense that like I could buy it happening that way. Like it's not too like movie over the top where you're like, oh, that was just absurd. Like
Yeah.
it's right on the money where it's like, yeah, no, I could believe that rolling down like that.
Yeah,
Like
she
that's
explains it, and
solid.
I'm like, yeah, the cops will show up, and she's got the letter. It's got his fingerprint on it, for
On
Christ's
it, yeah,
sakes. Of
yeah,
course he did it.
yeah. It's like exactly like we got it. It's golden.
But
Yeah, it's just
so like no, the setup is cool, and then I just love like the way like he's slowly getting more and more angry because he's like not taking her seriously, and he thinks the situation's in total control, and she keeps just like chipping away at him, like slapping him, and he like you can tell he's trying to just be like fuck it, it's fine, but he's getting like more and more angry.
yeah, he's just like more and more quickly going to that place of just absolute lunacy.
Yeah, and the fight's like believable too. It's like she uses her training, and she's like able to chip him a little bit, but he's still able to be like kind of brutish at some points, and
Yeah.
like her size becomes like a disadvantage, which makes it more interesting.
Well, that's what I love in like fight scenes too, is when they use as much of like the real world as they can in the sense where it's like, all right, yeah, she's got to win in the end, but like she can't just run rough shit over him. Like she's had this training, but he's still, bigger than her, stronger than her. He's got this brutality to him that she just doesn't possess. So she's still going to take plenty of licks and like have to fight from underneath to win this, which is exactly what you want your hero to do. Like your hero has got to fucking bleed for that win.
Yeah, it's got to be an obstacle. It's got to be something
Exactly.
worth overcoming,
Exactly. And I feel like you don't get that a lot in movies today. Like like your heroes today have to be so OP that they just run rough shit through it and they face like very little opposition. Like
I'm trying to
every
think.
hero today has to be a superhero. Like even if it's an everyday person, they're a fucking superhero.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think once you turn like big blockbuster movies into like a superhero competition, nobody wants to look bad. And like it's like I don't know, I guess like I've heard rumors of people like not wanting their people to lose. It's like Steven Seagal syndrome. Wasn't that or yeah, Steven Seagal, wasn't that his thing like where he never wanted to lose at all or get hit in
Yeah.
fights in his movies?
Absolutely. Or I think like they said it, I think it came out like a little while ago, like in one of the Fast and the Furious movies, like The Rock and Vin Diesel both had it in their contract that every punch that they received, they had to throw another one in equal measure. Like they could never look weak.
That's
And
so that's so ridiculous if they
it's like,
actually put
come
that
on.
in a
Just
contract.
like, come on, bro. Like
That's so
it's like even if
ridiculous.
you lost a fight, like I don't think anyone out there is gonna look at The Rock for a second and be like, dude, total what a fucking weak little bitch, bro. Like,
No, if you're in a movie, you gotta go the Jean-Claude Van Damme route. You gotta like take a beating before you actually win.
I mean, those are the best movies. Like you look at like your Indiana Joneses or like the early Die Hards, like they got this shit kicked out of them for the entire movie. And then just like won by the perseverance of their character. And like that's what endears you to them. Like that's an everyman right there. And she's Jennifer Lopez's character in this is like that. She learns her training, does just enough so that she can defend herself, but she still takes that beating in order to get that win. And
Yeah, and
that's what
she
your main
like
character should do.
the fight is awesome, and the way she kicks him through the table in the end is sick.
Yeah,
Like she finally
like,
beats him, and then like the come down with like the cops are all there.
yeah, like movies today have kind of lost that everyman quality that you want to see in your hero. Like everybody's got to be OP as shit these days.
Yeah. So and I mean, I don't know. If
OP
there
as
was
shit.
anything I didn't like, it's like some of the stuff like the plot like never really feels like too convincing at certain points. Like I didn't find it believable that she talked to his mom on the phone every week. Like that was like a bit much for me. Like
Yeah,
it felt like I just need a reason for them to get caught again.
exactly.
So like
I feel like the kid too is just kind of window dressing to just add, like she's just old enough to like kind of understand what's going on, but not old enough to have really any kind of agency in the thing. Like she's just kind of there.
Yeah, some of the scenes with her are good though. Like when they're like, "What's your name?" and she's like, "I don't know," and you're like, "Oh my god, it's tearing this girl apart.
Yeah,
She
like
doesn't even
she,
know who she is anymore."
yeah, right. She's not even a queen anymore.
But so yeah, like I mean, I don't know if I'd say she was like window dressing. It's just like the thing is, when I remember this movie, like before I rewatched it this time, because it had been a long time since I'd seen this, I
Mm,
remember it being a lot more full. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
like I kind of remember like the big points of the plot, and I think with the benefit of time, I kind of just fill in the rest with good stuff that I think is good. You know, or like I remember the rest being good, even though I don't really remember it. But like when I watch it now, everything feels like it happens like so fast once stuff starts happening, and like none of it ever really feels like earned, or like a lot of it feels like it comes up out of the blue, like the mom thing. Like, you know, when she's escaped, I would have liked to have had like some inkling of like he knew, like he had some way to track her down, or like knew where she was going or something.
yeah,
And it really just like the way they get out of it is like, oh well, his mom convinced her to talk to him on the phone.
yeah.
Like it's like, why would she ever do that, you know?
Yeah. And they also do the same thing like later on in making these easy layups because it's like he sends the cop up to go search for him. And as soon as the cop arrives, there's the buddy, and he just sees them right there on the pier as he comes off the thing. And it's like, oh, that was fucking easy. Like, cool. Now he got him. Like,
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. That's different. Like once he knows where she is and he's sending his cop buddy up to investigate, like that all makes sense to me. And like of course he finds her first. What's he gonna do? Search around for 20 minutes? Like, no, he's gotta like find her.
you give him some like
But
sort of impetus. I think it would be better too served if it was just him that went up to do it and not just sending the cop.
yeah. Or like, I don't know, like,
Because
yeah,
like
like
I think
something.
this would be more threatening if like he was this imposing force that was almost like an engine just never stopped. Like he was always this threat looming over her that at any second he could be over her shoulder, and you
See,
don't
I
really
I
feel
don't
that.
think the cop, I don't think that he's much different than that because he's using the cop. And like the thing that freaks me out about this guy the most is that he seemingly has like law enforcement and gangster type guys like at his fingertips to do like shady shit for him, which, you know, like even in the early 2000s you're starting to get into you can't run away from that territory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so like that's like scary to me in a realistic way, like where he's just a buddy with a cop, so he has like way more resources available to him. Like that's scary to me, you know?
Oh no, and I like that. I like that he has those resources, but maybe in the sense that like you get that scene where they're together at the police precinct and he's using that resource, but then as soon as he knows, where she is, he's going to take care of that threat. Because like
Yeah.
you have the friend goes up, spots them, gives the dude the call, and then literally in like the next scene, the guy's in the house. So it's like, why didn't you just cut out the middleman and have him being the
Yeah, I
imposing
guess maybe
force that's there?
it's like maybe a little clunky, I guess. I don't know. But like
Yeah.
it's like that all makes sense to me. And like I, like you said earlier, I think that's like a good reveal for like that the whole thing in the beginning was like a total setup where you're just like, "Oh
Yeah.
man, like none of it was real from the jump." Like I like that part of it too. I just like the stuff with the mom, it's just like not believable to me, you know?
Oh,
Like
and
I
I'm
like
I'm with
I
you on
guess
that
like
one
the
too.
daughter's like guilting her into calling, so like she feels guilty, but then why would she let him talk to the guy? Like the guy's like the worst. So I don't know, like, but it just felt like that happened a couple times where the movie was just like, well, we need to get to the end now,
They were
so
they
we
were just
gotta
like,
do
we
something
need
different.
yeah, they're like, we need something to happen. And like that was just the easiest route for them to go to get to where they needed to be. So like it comes off as clunky.
Yeah, and then I'm with you on like the dialogue at certain points. Like it's very like those are like the two main things I didn't like. I guess the dialogue was pretty clunky.
Very, very 2000s. I don't know. I don't think I've seen anything else that Nicholas Kazan, the writer, has done.
I
But
don't know, but we're
that
about to jump into IMDb deep dive. Normally, we might be able to find out there, but this time we're doing J Lo, so we won't.
up. Sorry, Nicholas. Maybe next time if we ever see your
Sorry.
name pop up again.
If we
Um,
don't do J Lo on the enough episode, we're really gonna
yeah,
start like
yeah, we're
raising
really
questions
people are really
that
gonna
we need
start
to answer to
rioting.
ourselves, honestly, because that would just be ridiculous if we did this screenwriter instead of J Lo.
Yeah, I oh, like, oh, sorry, can't do it. Right. I think we've exhausted. I think we've had enough of us diving in here on enough. So why don't we turn on over now and we dive into that lovely IMDb deep dive.
All right, so we're
Uh,
gonna do J Lo.
yes, we're gonna do J Lo. Jim, can I jump in for 5 seconds with an addendum?
Yeah.
So I quickly pulled it up. Uh, Nicholas Kazan also wrote Bicentennial Man.
Oh,
And
the Robin Williams movie.
yep, and two movies that I know are near and dear to your heart.
Oh.
Um, Mobsters, 1991's Mobsters.
Oh, with Christian Slater?
Yep,
That movie's awesome. Yeah.
yep,
Lucky Luciano.
yep. And 1998 Denzel Washington vehicle, Fallen.
Oh, another classic. Okay, yeah, those are two
Yeah,
really good credits.
yep. And then he has a daughter who is a huge big name actor, Zoe Kazan. She's been in a bunch of movies. So there you go. Quick addendum right there. Man has done a few things that you've heard of and have enjoyed.
Not nearly as many things as J-Lo, though.
No, not nearly as much as
Because
J-Lo. She's definitely
J-Lo
taken
has, count 'em, 133 previous acting credits in IMDb.
you mean before enough or in total?
No, no, total. What do you mean for enough?
You
She's
said
got 133 credits. What do you think she got credited 133 times in this one movie? There's not even 133 people in the movie. What are you
no,
talking
I
about?
meant before, like movies before enough.
Oh no, like previous as in like they haven't happened yet. She has
Gotcha.
136
Okay.
credits total, but three of them are like still in pre-production, like in like various stages of not being released.
Okay. See, that's okay. See, that's what I meant. All right.
You know?
Oh,
Okay, like
I'm
before
like,
enough.
yeah,
It's like,
she
what
did
do you
everything.
mean
Costume
133
designer
credits
Jennifer
for enough?
Lopez.
There's some like children, like child actress stuff, I would guess. Like in 1986, she couldn't have been that old in 1986. My Little Girl,
Never heard of it.
that's like a
So,
movie. I've never even heard of that. Then
so
she
did
does some
she?
music videos where she's like a dancer. She's a fly girl on In Living Color, which is something we mentioned in one of our previous
Gotcha,
episodes. In
gotcha.
Living Color.
Okay, so she's kind of like filtered in and out of like movies and music at like the same time.
Yeah, and like she's probably closer to like Paula Abdul at this point than she is to like an actual actress though, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
and then she does some TV work. She's on a show called Second Chances. She does 4 episodes on a show called South Central in
Okay.
1994. She does 6 episodes on Hotel Malibu in 1994.
Oh
And then
boy.
95, she gets the first movie credit that I think is of any value that stands out to me, Money Train. She plays Grace Santiago in Money Train.
Oh, dude, now that's a classic movie right there.
Total classic movie. Yeah, it's like one of my favorites. That's like the one where the guy gets burned up in the subway in the beginning, which was like based on a real life thing that used to happen in New York City.
It's classic.
She plays one of the teachers in Jack, another Robin Williams movie.
Oh, dude, I forgot she's in that.
Yeah.
Dude, you want to talk
Um,
about a fucking movie? Dude, that's a movie right there.
I have not seen that since I was a very young child, and I would be very interested to see what I thought of it as an
But
adult.
well, everyone, Robin Williams' like best friend in that movie isn't it Bill Cosby?
I don't really remember. I haven't seen it since I was like literally in elementary school.
You know, it's been a long time since I've seen it too.
1996. Have you ever heard of Blood and Wine?
No.
Never heard of it either. Then I think this is probably the thing she's most known for early in her career.
Okay.
1997, she plays Selena in Selena.
Yes. I've actually never seen that movie.
Me neither. I know Selena is like an icon. I know roughly what happened to her, but I like couldn't tell you anything about her music or her life or anything other than the end of
Yeah.
it.
That movie has kind of slipped through the cracks for me. Because I think there was another movie in 1997 that I know her way more for. And it was very near and dear to my heart.
Yeah. So let's get into some this or that. And Jennifer Lopez might be the best this or that candidate we've had to date, right? Because I'm going to actually ask some difficult questions here. Like, would you take Enough or 1997's Anaconda?
Well, Jim, I just set that one up for you on how much love love that movie. I'm hard in on Anaconda, Jim.
I think I'm going to take Enough, but it's a
But dude,
close one. It's
dude,
This
I'm
is
just
the
gonna
kind of
say,
conversation that this or that is born
yeah,
for.
enough doesn't have Ice Cube in it or John Voight winking at somebody after he's been eaten by a snake.
That's fair. That's fair. I may have to watch Anaconda again. Would you take Enough or 1998's Steven Soderbergh film Out of Sight?
Oh, dude, Out of Sight. Out of Sight's dude, that movie's so good.
I watched like the first half of it pretty recently for the first time, and I couldn't get past the whole like she's an FBI agent that he just kidnapped 6 hours ago, and now they're like having like a screwball comedy relationship.
It's a very Steven Soderbergh movie.
I just couldn't get past it. It was like too silly to me. But like so I may go back and watch though, is the point.
Yeah, I do love that movie.
Um all right, let's see. She also does a voice in 1998's Ants. I couldn't tell you if it's a good
Oh,
character or not. I haven't seen that in forever.
absolute classic right there.
Then The Cell in 2000. I assume, or I
Uh,
guess, are you taking Enough or The Cell?
enough, dude. I still can't return to the cell.
Yeah, I'm taking Enough also. All right, this is a little bit of a curveball. Would
Oh,
you take
okay.
Enough or 2001's The Wedding Planner?
Oh, dude, Wedding Planner. That's a peak rom com right there.
I'm taking Enough. Fuck The Wedding Planner, dude.
Get out of here,
No
dude.
shot. I'm
McConaughey.
skipping. I'm skipping over a bunch of music videos here. I think I know what you're gonna incorrectly pick here again. But would you take Enough or 2002's Made in Manhattan?
My God, no, I would take enough.
Okay, I'm taking Enough.
Fucking made in
Uh,
Manhattan.
2003 Enough or 2003's Gigli?
Oh my God, enough.
I'm taking Enough, but Gigli gets way too bad of a rap. It's not nearly as bad as everybody makes it sound.
Pronounced Geely,
It's Gigli. Gigli.
Geegly.
Gigli. How do you say it?
Thought it was just Geely.
No, it's Gigli. Is
Oh,
it
no,
Gigli?
dude, that
I can't even say it without the second G, dude. I can't.
Geegly, Geely,
Gigli is what you're saying
Geely,
it is.
Geely.
No, dude, it's gotta be Gigli.
We're
There's
gonna
no
we're
way.
gonna we're gonna need a second opinion here. Someone in the comments.
Yeah.
It was
I tried. I can't pronounce the word without the second G. Not happening. Um, all right. Are you taking Enough or 2004's Kevin Smith movie, Jersey Girl? It's another
oh,
J Lo Ben Affleck. Oh wait,
like,
did you
yeah.
take Gigli? What did we never got
No,
past
I
the name?
no, I took enough.
I'm taking Enough, but that movie gets a bad rap. We did do that part. You're right. I'm
You did
sorry.
do that part. You got lost in
Um,
the Geely pronunciations.
so, so Enough or 2004's Kevin Smith classic starring Ben Affleck, Jersey Girls.
Um,
Jersey Girl.
fuck, I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I'm gonna stick with enough right now.
I
I haven't seen Jersey Girl. I think I've seen that movie once when we were in high school. So I remember literally nothing about it.
On memory, I'm gonna take Jersey Girl, but I submit that that might be a bad pick. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
All right. Have you seen Shall We Dance?
I have not, but looking at who's in it, I think I might have to rectify that. We got Susan
I've never
Sarandon,
seen Shall
Richard
We
Gere.
Dance. Okay.
We
Are
shall
you
dance.
taking Enough or 2005's Monster in Law?
I have not seen Monster in Law.
Me neither. I mean, we're really like firmly into J Lo has given up on making movies like Money Train and Enough, and she's just really leaned into the comedy.
She's had enough of trying at the box office. She's coping
Okay.
in on on
Okay.
our rom-coms.
What's an unfinished life in 2005? What is that?
Never even heard of that. Oh no, I have. I'm pretty sure it's the exact same movie as Enough.
Is it?
Maybe no, maybe I'm pretty sure she's also like a runaway again from like an abusive relationship.
Oh my god, dude, I think she's married to Robert Redford in this. Hold on.
No,
Desperate
no.
to provide care for her daughter, down on her luck, Jean moves in with her father-in-law, from whom she is estranged. Through time, they learn to forgive each other and heal old wounds.
Okay, so she's just like down on
So
her luck.
that's why they
She's
have the
not.
same last name. It's her husband's dad.
Gotcha. Okay, so she's not like she's just down on her luck. She's not like abused.
Yeah, well, but they learn to forgive each other and heal old wounds. So like, what are the old wounds? I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's true. Very true. Interesting.
And Morgan Freeman's in it.
I
I don't know. I
have
can't believe
seen
I didn't see this. Actually, this kind of looks boring. But
I
as an
have
adult,
seen
I
it.
kind of wish I kind of want to watch it.
I watched it on Netflix. I remember it was on Netflix.
Was it any good?
I don't remember.
That's not a ringing endorsement. That's not. I'm gonna
It's
take that
wait,
as a no.
uh,
Survey says no.
server says not inconclusive. Ask again later.
Ask again later. She has got like a lot of music videos that are clogging things up.
I mean,
Have you
obviously,
ever seen
like
What to Expect When You're Expecting?
no,
2011. We're getting like
no,
very into
I
it
did
here.
not. I think that's when they're all like obviously expecting.
I mean, I get it's like they tried to adapt like a baby book, is what it sounds like to me,
Yeah,
which is like
yeah,
a dumb idea, I think.
yeah. No, I have not seen that one.
Okay, I'm trying because she stays like in like she makes shitty comedies for a while, and then it looks like for a while she just doesn't have an acting career, which tracks. She's in a lot of music videos mostly.
I mean, she's also a
And I'm
huge
trying to see.
musician.
She does some voice work. She's in a couple of the Ice Age movies.
Oh,
2015, she does something called The Boy Next Door. I don't know what that is.
never heard of it.
Lila and Eve.
Never heard of it.
There's a voice in Home. I'm just trying to get up to like, because this is like to me her big comeback movie.
I think I know
Um,
what movie you're gonna say.
so okay, did you ever see Second Act? That's
I,
really like the
I
first
did.
movie.
I did see
Okay,
that. I would take enough.
okay. I haven't seen Second Act, so I would also take Enough. But I'm trying to find like that's sort of her comeback movie, but not too
Well,
long
no,
after that.
next year.
Yes, there it is. Okay, I have it. 2019. Would you take Enough or 2019's jaw-dropping thriller Hustlers?
I mean, absolutely hustlers. Hustlers is
Hustlers, and it's like not even
yeah,
close.
not even close. Like that honestly might be like her one of her best performances in a movie, right up there with Anaconda.
Dude, that she was in her 50s when that movie came out.
Yeah.
And there is a scene in that movie that I still am not sure that I've been able to pick my jaw up off of the floor. Like it's
Yeah,
like
it's
that's one
fucking
of the best movies. It's so good.
yeah, that's a really good movie right there.
It's I would say it's like the crowning jewel of her acting career. Like for a role that she plays
Hey,
and
hey,
like
hey,
she's
hey,
like
hey.
really the
We said up there with Anaconda, not better than Anaconda. All right, why don't you
no,
relax?
I that's better than Anaconda to me. That's and then I don't know, did you ever see Shotgun Wedding? That was like a straight to
Yeah,
streaming one.
dude, brutal.
It was really bad.
Oh, dude, brutal, brutal.
In 2024, she was in the Dun Kings commercial for Dunkin', I think, Donuts, like the coffee place.
Where it was, it was like her, Ben Affleck.
I guess. I think Matt Damon was in one of them.
Yeah,
And then yeah, she's still making. Does she still make music? She's still in music videos in 2024.
she just like released, I think, like a new album. She just like
Did
canceled her
she?
summer tour.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that. Why did she cancel her summer tour?
I don't know. I'm not in the know. You're the one who's her publicist.
What? No, first of all, you said I was her acting coach. Second of all, you're the one telling me all these things about J Lo's life, like I'm supposed to know them. So you're
Uh,
supposed to know why it got canceled when you bring it up, dude.
Heather didn't give me that information.
All right, well, find out and report back, okay?
I'll get an addendum going later on. But yeah, that's
Um,
that is
and then
quite
2024, the last movie on here is Atlas. I've never seen that.
oh, that just came out on Netflix, Jim. My God.
Is it good?
No.
Oh, okay. And
Could have used some
then
of your acting coaching there, Jimbo. Where were you? Was you at the weekend off when she did that one?
and then this is an interesting IMDb deep dive thing to do. Here's her 3 upcoming credits. She's in The Godmother, that's in pre-production.
Where the fuck that
She's
is?
in Unstoppable, which is in post-production. I'd imagine it's not the movie about the train.
No, well, considering that came out 10 years ago, I'm gonna say it's not
Yeah,
the one.
it's just odd. It's just odd. I don't know why you would want to use that name again after that powerhouse of a movie.
Absolutely, yeah, that absolute classic.
I think it's taken Unstoppable from everybody forever in my book. And then also Kiss of the Spider Woman, where
Uh,
she actually has a name. It's in production. She's playing Aurora in Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Interesting.
I think that's a sequel to Madam Web or something.
Yeah, okay.
The Spider Woman, she's
There,
like
there,
Madam Web.
we got Madam Web in the house here. Hey, yo, is a Spider Woman?
Hey, I got an idea. What if we did that Madam Web lady movie, but we put J Lo in it instead?
It's a mix between Madam Web and the Alex Cross detective movies, because he always got the spiders in the
Oh
titles.
yeah, that was Along Came a Spider, right? Was that one? Is
Yeah,
it Along Came a Spider the one where the girl gets kidnapped from the private school? That's Along Came a Spider, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
There's a,
that's a good
that's
movie.
that's a hard 2000s classic right there.
Yeah, but all right,
Like,
so yeah, those are her upcoming credits. So keep an eye out for those for
there
J
we go.
Lo.
So we
Hopefully
still
they'll
have.
be
So
as
it's
good
good.
as Hustlers was.
It's good to see you still have some work ahead of you. You still got a job.
Yeah, I mean she deserves it.
Oh yeah, after Hustlers, she can work as long as she wants. After Anaconda, come on,
And
absolutely.
then so I think does that bring us to our ratings?
That does bring us now, Jim, to our star ratings. I'm curious from you if this is good enough to get a Roger Ebert deep cut from you.
I'm Roger Ebert. Been a scene from the best film of the decade. This is a great film.
Well, that answers my question. All
Yeah,
right,
it
Jim.
deserves it.
All right, Jim. Let's hear it.
So like take this with a grain of salt because this is from a guy who used to watch a lot of General Hospital, like, and is a fan of this kind of like soap opera ish acting.
Soap Opera Digest.
Um, but this is a really good movie. It's like really intense for me when it feels like it's supposed to be intense. Like, I like the fact that the stakes get crazy. Like they still stay very personal for this lady, and like I like the fact that the stakes get crazy. I like that it's kind of realistic that she's not getting any help from like the police or the courts or like anybody, so she feels like she needs to do these out there things. So like I don't know, I just like on the whole this movie works for me, and it has like one of the most satisfying endings of this kind of movie. Like it's exactly what I'm like hoping for to happen, and it happens in such an early 2000s badass kind of way. So I am going to give enough 4 out of 5 stars.
All right,
That's my pick. It's not a Doctor Doolittle toot it, dude. Like where it's
yeah,
just
you
it's obviously
absolutely did.
not gonna win any Oscars, but for the mood I was in, and like I feel like this movie took me to the places it was trying to take me to. It had me on the edge of my seat for a lot of it. So I'm giving 4 out of 5.
That's fair. That's fair. Me, I'm gonna go just a smidge behind you there, Jimbo.
I kind of
Um,
figured.
this, yeah, I mean, like I again, like I talked about through the whole thing. For me, it's a very mixed bag. There's things in it that I like, and there's things in it that I didn't like. Unfortunately, the things that I didn't like kind of outweighed the things that I did enjoy out of this movie. I do enjoy that it is kind of pulpy and very of the 2000s, but that kind of wears its welcome for me very quickly. And the over
Yeah.
the topness at times it's just tough for me to really get invested throughout the movie. I do agree that the finale and everything in the back half of this movie once she escapes is very thrilling and is a lot of fun. But the freaking subtitles every time taking me out every 5 seconds, the over the top
The
comicalness,
wedding.
yeah, yeah, is a lot of stuff for me that I just like couldn't jam on, and there was never a point in this movie where I really got as invested as I hoped to be. watching this movie. So I'm actually going to divide your score in half, and I'm going to give this movie 2 stars.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So with a 4 from you and a 2 from me, it's going to round this bad boy out to a healthy little 6 right there. So it's going to settle
Nice.
itself right in there in the middle of the pack. So right now it's going to join 2 other movies that also have 6s. Star Wars Episode 1 and The Mummy Returns. So Jim, do you take Enough or do you take The Mummy Returns?
Enough.
Jesus Christ, Jim. I don't even know how to fight you on that because you also
I mean,
you also
you
gave
don't
the
even
Mummy.
like The Mummy Returns, dude. How are you gonna fight me on it?
But you, I know. I also gave the Mummy Returns a 2, and you gave it a 4.
Yeah. Wait, you gave The Mummy Returns a 2 and I gave it a 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking it. I'm taking Enough over The Mummy Returns. I think
Honestly,
that's like
like,
not even particularly hard.
yeah, I mean, fine. I don't even care.
Yeah. No, I mean like it's I think the way I would answer that question is which one did I watch last? Like I think that's the one I would pick every time. Like, and I would probably be just as sure about it, but I don't know that one of them really is that much better than the other.
Oh my
But for
god.
right now I watched Enough last, so I'm taking Enough.
All right. Yeah, whatever. I mean, I gave both of them a 2, so I really
It's just
so
like
either way.
the level of defeat in your voice because you're like, shit, I don't like Mummy Returns. How am I supposed to do this?
All right, fine. Yeah, fine. So then the question is, Jim, do you take Enough or Star Wars Episode 1? I ask begrudgingly.
I mean, I answered that question in my head the second you read listed those 3 movies. I'm taking Enough.
My God.
Go ahead. Tell me Phantom Menace is better. Go ahead.
Like it is, but like I don't but like I don't even like Phantom Menace enough to argue for it.
Exactly, dude. Enough has like the easiest road to the top of this list of
Oh
all
my God.
time.
I can't. I can't.
It makes sense though. It's the sixes, you know? Like this is exactly what a 6 movie should be like, where you're like, I think it's better than that, but I can't really explain why. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, fine. Whatever.
enough, king of the sixes.
Sure. Yeah, fine. I could sleep on that. Knock yourself out.
Yeah.
All right, so enough settling in the number 16 seed at the top of the sixes. So it sandwiches itself between Star Wars Episode 2 with a 6.5 and Star Wars Episode 1 with a 6.
Yeah, that's a good spot for it. I'm telling that's gonna age well. I'm telling you, that's gonna age really well.
I'm fucking crying right now.
It's like it's one of those movies where like I could see people why they might have missed it. Like, especially if they're a bit younger, I could see why people would have missed it. But I think everybody should go give it a watch. And like I'm curious to see like I wonder if you had seen this in 2002, what you would think of it now. You know what I mean?
Maybe the nostalgia might have been a bit stronger.
That
with
might be,
me.
yeah, that might be what's like really like nudging me toward it, you know?
It's possible. It's entirely possible. But no, but I do agree with you that I do think that people should give it a shot and at least watch it because it is a movie that's at least, like watchable. It's not like torture to get through.
For me, it's like a real hidden gem, and I maybe didn't even realize how hidden it was until we started talking about it.
All right. I can live on that. So yeah. So enough settling in right there. I'll stomach that for now. Jim, would you like to take a gander of a guess at the movie for next week?
Um, I am not sure. Do you have a hint for me?
As
Because
always,
these ones
do.
are harder. Like it's sometimes easier to guess when I've gone through the box office for the one previous. But
Gotcha.
this,
Yeah.
who knows where this is in relation to the
So
next one?
yeah. So it is not in the box office from this episode that we've done. But my hint for you, it is the final movie in a comedy trilogy that pretty much was the standard bearer in this. It's a huge spoof franchise as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
spoof franchise trilogy. It's gotta be Austin Powers.
This, yes, we will be landing next in the world of Austin Powers in Goldmember will be where we're going now. An absolute comedy classic. So we're finally switching up the genre again. We've it's been a minute since we've done our last comedy. And this is one of the peak franchises for comedies back then. So this is going to be a fun one.
That's an interesting one because that's a movie when the last time I really watched it, I would have told you I was a big fan of it. And I'm curious to see how much of that holds up now that I've grown up a little bit and some time has passed and maybe some world sensibilities have changed. Like,
Yeah, comedies is probably the easiest genre to age poorly. So I agree with you. It will be interesting to dive into this one and see how well the finale in the Austin Powers trilogy holds up. So make sure you tune back with us next week when we dive into Austin Powers in Goldmember. For now, let's hear some comments down below. Did you see enough when it came out? Have you even heard of this movie as well? Your thoughts down below. You can also rally with me against Jim on his insane placement of this movie on the illustrious list.
yeah, and how do
So
you
let's
pronounce Gigli?
yes, yeah, probably the most important one. Let us know, how do you pronounce G? Is it Geely or Jiggly? Where do you pronounce that second G? Is it in there at all?
Keep in
Let us.
mind, one of us has seen the movie, and did you see it?
I have not seen that movie.
Yeah,
No.
one of us has seen the movie, and I'm pretty sure they pronounce it in the movie. I might be making this up at this point. That's also
Yeah.
possible.
So make sure we need one of you keyboard warriors out there to let us know the true pronunciation
More
of
than
this
anything,
movie.
I'm trying to get in your head about the fact that you're pronouncing it wrong.
We'll see. We'll see. I feel like I have a better basis here than you. I don't know. I'm holding firm on my Geely pronunciation. But let us know all that down in the comments. Jim, before we sign off, you got any new recommendations for the people out there?
Nah.
You got nothing?
What
Yeah.
about you?
No, I got nothing either. I'm still just I'm in season 2 of Buffy right now, so still watching the same
Oh
old. So
wait, did Spike come yet? Is Spike there?
so yes, I literally just passed the episode where Spike showed up, and has probably the most hilariously silly, amazing entrance that any character has had in a television
Couldn't
show
even tell you what it
ever.
was, honestly.
So like they're like coming out of school one day and they're like, "What should we do tonight?" And Xander's just like, he's like, "No, like no, nothing bad's gonna happen tonight." And they're like, "Why would you say that? You're gonna jinx it." And he's like, "No, like nothing bad's gonna happen." And then it immediately cuts to a car running over the entrance sign to Sunnydale, and like this like stoner rock is playing where it's like and then Spike gets out in his leather trench coat and he's like, "I like this place." It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I forgot that Spike has like a really British accent. It's so
Yeah,
funny.
dude,
He's
it's
like
so
Billy Idol.
yeah, dude, yeah, he's got the bleach blonde hair. I'm like, dude, this is the fun. I fucking died laughing. I'm like, dude, this is the silliest show I've ever seen in my life. I love it.
All right,
It's
yeah, no, I think that's a good enough recommendation for now. Go watch Buffy if you
yeah,
haven't
go
watched
watch
it. It's
Buffy
very silly.
if you're like me and don't watch your TV shows until 30 years after they've been on TV. Dive into your Buffy. It's an absolute classic. And we will see you all here next week when we dive into Austin Powers and Goldmember. And as always, until next time, we'll see you at the movies.